A $2.5 million donation by itself sends a strong enough message of support. But for Greg and Kara Olsen, it's not just money they're willing to part with.
As sports director Phil Orban tells us, to help families with children like their son TJ, they've built a community.
The Olsen family has turned heartbreak into hope.
It gives us a lot of purpose. It gives us a lot of clarity on why we were put in this situation.
And they're just getting started.
Greg and I can never do enough.
By now, you know the story of Greg and Kara's son TJ, diagnosed with a congenital heart condition before he was born. 4 open heart surgeries through the first 2 years of his life. But now, a healthy and happy 6-year-old.
The reality is that's not everybody's story. And if there's a way that we can help make that a greater possibility, of having better outcomes for these other families that come behind us, then we feel like that's our job. You know, that's our role in this whole world.
So the Olsens have committed themselves to creating those better outcomes. The HEARTest Yard initiative has raised millions of dollars in aid for families in the Carolinas in need of support for their child battling congenital heart conditions.
We've raised $3 million up until this point.
More than money, the Olsens have created a community. The annual 5K attracted over 1,000 runners. Many simply there in support of a good cause, but peppered in the crowd were families whose children have benefited directly from the HEARTest Yard.
It makes me feel so good. You know, I know what it's like to be in the parents' shoes, but all these kids seem to be so strong, and it just warms my heart to be here.
And earlier this month, the Olsens stepped up in a big way, writing a $2.5 million check to go towards building a pediatric cardiovascular outpatient facility at Levine Children's Hospital. This, too, is for the community they've built.
That's why we're calling it the HEARTest Yard Pediatric Cardiac Center. This is not about the Olsen family. It's not about TJ. You know, it's about this program and kind of this movement that we've started here in Carolina. And people have really, really taken hold of it.
Sometimes you choose your passions, and sometimes they choose you. In the hardest years of their lives, Greg and Kara have found their purpose, where there is no finish line.
People come up and say thank you. We're like, no, like it's never even like a thought. It's never even a question. Like, we'll just continue to do more and more and more as we can. So it's endless for us.
The HEARTest Yard Pediatric Cardiac Center will be housed in the Medical Center Plaza building right next to Levine Children's Hospital and is scheduled to open in late 2020.